And we are live.
I'm not ready. I'm just kidding. Actually, this time I really am ready. I'm
Oh,
just being an ass. But it was funny. JD was like, "Are you ready?" And I was already saying yes by default, and I realized not only am I not ready, I was very not ready. So yeah, now I am ready.
That's
yeah.
good.
Anyway, yeah, it's Ultra Podcast Z episode 252, which sounds like a crazy number when I think about it. And I'm Manuel, the leader of AJ Connections, and Josh is here. Josh, say hi.
Hi there, I'm Josh from Fotaku Network.
Yeah, we have a nice little lazy Tuesday, some lazy topics. Before we went live, well, by we I mean I was mainly ranting about some random shit. But I don't know. It's like if anyone joins the chat and wants to throw in a topic later. But we were talking about Sonic Generations and Keanu Reeves as Shadow the Hedgehog,
Mhm.
and I'm still excited for that. I didn't know there was another Sonic game coming out though.
I mean, it's an enhanced re-release of Sonic Generations.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Sonic Generations 2. I was confused by that. Yeah, Sonic Generations was an alright game. I remember playing on the PS3. Um, it was the weird one. It's funny because every like 3 to 5 years they come out with a new Sonic game. It's like, oh, it captures the magic of like the old Sonic games or whatever. And like if I was to give these games like a rating, I would give them like an 8 out of 10 or something like that because they always almost do it, but they don't. I have a love-hate relationship with the Sonic video games. Do you like Sonic games, Josh?
Yeah, I like Sonic games. I have Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. I actually have that first Sonic Generations. And then for a while, I did also have like Sonic Heroes for a bit. Then I traded that one in. So I think those are like the only two like hard copies of Sonic games that I No, wait. I just remembered I have the Switch version of Sonic Colors.
Oh yeah, I love Sonic Colors. Well, I haven't played the new re-release one, which I've heard mixed things about. But then again, I haven't played this. I don't know. But I did like Sonic Colors on the Wii.
Hmm.
But then again, I'm weird. And I also want to reiterate, I never like hated Sonic. I even kind of like Sonic 06. Even though there are parts of it that are broken. But I will admit that like the entire Sonic series to me feels like a really, really, really good mid-tier level series.
With at
Like,
least some decent movies.
yeah, okay. Honestly, I think everything that surrounds the Sonic franchises, like the memes, the I even the comic books, the cartoons, to a degree. Like I like the cartoon way more than I even like the older games. The Sat AM one.
Mhm.
The movies. Well, like okay, the movies are good for their own reasons. I don't know if they're like great movies, but but I don't know, like the games like always like even from the get go, like even playing Sonic, I played Sonic 1, 2, and 3 like as a child, and I'm like, even back then, I'm like comparing it to Mario, which everyone always does, is
Mhm.
really unfair in my opinion. It's like that's like comparing. Shit, I can't think of a good example.
It's
That's
two
like
different like play styles. You have your platformer and then you have like also platforming, but it's more emphasis on how like cool and fast it looks. Um versus like I would say it's a different kind of problem solving that you're doing in both games.
And the weird thing is, like, for whatever you want to say, the Mario series, even though it's always been like, woohoo, Mario saves the princess, like, no, Peach, whatever.
Mhm.
Like, the series has evolved, but Sonic has always, like, and they've been embracing it more and more. Sonic has always just kept that 90s edgy attitude, like, no matter what.
Yeah,
And
his character has nowhere to go. It's a fully developed character from the get-go.
I know. And, like, he, and I always love, like, whenever people are like, oh, he collects rings, not coins, shit like that. And
Mhm.
I don't know. I just always think because they always compare it and like to a bigger extent, like obviously people like compare Sega and Nintendo. Do you remember those arguments? Did you ever remember those arguments, Josh, when like um around the time the GameCube was like failing or whatever. Everyone was like, Nintendo should turn into Sega and become third party. And
Oh
then they
my
started
god.
saying it again when the Wii U was failing. And I'm like,
Yeah.
Nintendo, first of all, Nintendo would never do that. They always have they're always like, have something up their sleeve, and they have a ton of money behind them. But comparing Sega to Nintendo is also unfair. It's like that's like comparing like I can't even think of a cheap cell phone maker. It's like comparing a cheap cell phone maker you buy at like Metro PCS or whatever to
Mhm.
Apple. And then like, yeah, they should go that way. It's like, bro, they are two completely different leagues. Just because Sega threw out a few minor hit consoles, like, come on. Manuel acting like that's not 100% thing he would do to anyone who got the smallest detail wrong. Hey, shut up, JD. Anyways, JD, what's your thoughts on the Sonic franchise? Let's turn into a Sonic talk, I guess.
I'm trying to think if I've actually ever finished a Sonic game.
Wait, that's a good point. Have you ever finished a Sonic game, Josh?
Yeah. I finished Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. I played Sonic Adventure. I don't have the first game, but I had DX, and then DX had some of the like Game Gear games
Oh
on there.
yeah.
So I played a few of those. I didn't get the secret endings. I felt a little bummed about that, but like you had to like really work for it on those. Sonic 2 that was made by Sonic Advance 2 made by Dimps. Oh, the one Sonic game that I think took the most patience to beat, like in general, was probably Sonic Battle. That was for the GB. What's it called? It was for the Game Boy Advance. It was just like I think Power Stone, but like kind of 2D,
Oh
3D
yeah.
graphics.
I know what you're
And
talking about. Yeah.
that game was so difficult because you have this little robot that you're supposed to like level up over time. Like you get like little cards and you have like an EXP meter and you're supposed to balance out like your abilities with what cards you can get, which is like, oh, that's cool. But at the beginning of the game, you have shit cards. Like you don't get anything good because you have to go through everyone's story. And it felt like everyone's story had better cards than the previous, so it almost felt like XYZ characters better than the other one. And there was this one point in the game where it's like Rogue. It's either it's in Knuckles' story or it's like I'm not sure if it's Amy's or what, but you're like fighting Rouge the Bat. And I remember that you just had to fight like 3 or 4 waves of like enemies while you're the robot Emerald. And the problem with that is that when you're playing as Emerald and you suck and you have to fight for your life with terrible cards, and like it was bad enough. It felt like I was looking at the giant meteorite that Madara throws in Naruto, and it's like I just got done with one round. I was like, oh god, that was horrible. And then all of a sudden, without any provocation, the game goes, okay, we have reinforcements. I'm like, what? And then you see the second meteor just like show up, and I was like, oh, come on. So that was a trial to get through. Eventually, when you start getting to the later sections, you get better cards. I like how the most broken of them all was Cream, because Cream doesn't fight. Cream points like she's mother effing Phoenix Wright, and her little Chao will like beat the ever living shit out of everyone. And so when you end up going through her story, I ended up doing it twice just so I could collect all of her cards. And it was like, yeah, the next story I'm just gonna poke. I'm just gonna poke. And I'm just like, gosh damn, like no wonder they hid Cream, who is not as cool as like Shadow or Rouge the Bat, and like she was literally after their stories, and I'm like, oh, I know why. Because Cream and Cheese break the game. Okay, good to know.
Cream
It's
cheese
funny
breaks the
because
game?
like cheese is the it's
Chao.
the name, right? Yeah, it's Chao's name.
Oh, so they're
Yeah.
cream and cheese. Okay.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, it's cream and cheese, and I think she has a mom in her own plot line that also has a food name. I don't remember the mom's name, but anyway, uh, I think if I'm not mistaken, don't come at me if I get my Sonic lore wrong. I think Cream came from one of those advanced games, like one of those Dimps games. Like she debuted in like Sonic Advance 1 or 2, I think.
Oh,
Um,
it's kind of hard to say because she does debut playable in the Sonic Advance 2 game, but
Cream the Rabbit.
I think she might have had a cameo like a few months before. It's kind of hard because a lot of these games came out like around the same time. But in Sonic Adventure DX, sometimes when you're loading out of like the casino or a certain area, you'll notice that Cream is actually flying. Like not super far in the distance, like Ho-Oh, like literally
Oh,
should be
like,
flying past a building, and you can actually see her. You can't really interact with her. I tried several times, um, but yeah, you actually see Cream just kind of like flying around, and I was just like, is that was that done before? I don't know if it's seeing Cream that's like really like perplexing in Sonic Adventure DX, or if it's when you're doing the missions in Sonic DX, they actually have a Sonic X promotion. So there's like this sign that has that one kid from the show, and I was just tripping balls because I'm just like, did they just put Sonic X material in Sonic Adventure DX? Like,
for also for the record, her mom is named Vanilla. I looked it up, and I want to tell everyone out there who is being very naughty on the art. Please use art of Vanilla, not of Cream. I'll just leave it at that. By the way, any Sonic character, you just Google them with safe search off. It comes up in the first page. But but I accidentally
what?
came across well, this isn't that like that kind of accidentally. I came across an article. Apparently, Sega is doing the Cream voice actress Michelle Ruff dirty
Mhm.
by reusing her lines from like I don't even know what game she had lines in, but they were using like I guess she signed a weird contract, which is funny because if you ever pay attention to things I've said before about retaining voice actors for like re-releases of games,
Mhm.
um I always say put it into your contract that you can keep using their voices. I want to reiterate, I meant for the same game. Apparently, Sega did put that into her contract, and they've been using her once recorded lines for Cream the Rabbit still to this day. And she's publicly spoken ill about that. I mean, spoken out about that. So yeah,
I think
um,
that is really dirty to
no, don't
like
do
just
that,
go out and
Sega.
do that. It's like
Don't do.
James Earl Jones deciding that he gave his voice to Disney because he knew, like, unfortunately, that he was going to pass away. Rest in peace. Um, I can see why he did that. It does kind of suck for anybody who probably wanted to later also play, Darth Vader. Um, at least in regards to like if anybody wanted to do anything directly with Disney. So Disney just has that. It really just depends. But in that situation, at least he had consent for what he was doing in that moment
Yeah, I'm sure
versus
his
this
estate's
other
still getting
situation.
paid. Yeah, the estate's
Yeah.
still getting paid. I'm sure. For the record, though, I'm of the mind that we should just stop using Darth Vader in things. But I don't know if that's just an
Uh,
unpopular opinion.
no, I don't. I think I can see where the good was. It's like he made that bag and for his estate. But there is a part of me that also just kind of feels like, when will we actually get to that point where when we're hearing it, it's literally not just like something, because you could tell
Yeah,
like between
I
how
mean, like
everybody has all their
people have
little
played.
AI like voice
Oh,
joke things where it's like
but
you
like
don't
other
really,
people
you
have
can
played
tell
Darth Vader in the games.
weapon.
I said other people have played Darth Vader like in games and shit. They
Yeah.
just hire somebody who like does their best James Earl Jones impression.
And for Disney, best Genie impression, or I mean
It's like
best Robin Williams impression.
No, Dan
well,
Castellaneta's not even trying that. He's
yeah, I
doing
was
his
gonna
own
say like
voice.
he's not. I was gonna say like when he did the genie in the cartoon, he was not trying to be Robin Williams, but I like his genie too.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I don't think anyone
but
could do Robin
fucking,
Williams.
but whoever's doing Darth Vader, they're just like, bring me the passengers alive. Oh wait, that was I already fucked with the line again. That was bad James Earl Jones anyway. I was trying to do that. It's
I'd have
like
altered.
The
Oh, I
deal.
can't do it. I feel like I do
um,
it in my head, and then I actually hear myself, and I'm like, darn
Yeah,
it.
yeah, it never sounds right when you're trying to do a James Earl Jones impression.
Impressions are hard.
they very much are. Anyway, yeah, like I don't know. Like it's funny because it wasn't until JD said it that I realized I don't think I've completed many Sonic games. I think I've beat. Okay, I've cheated and beat Sonic 1. I don't think I ever beat Sonic 1 like not using a code, like a level skip code or some bullshit. I have beat Sonic 2 on on my own. I never got the good ending with all the Chaos Emeralds. Sonic 3, I've beaten with Knuckles because there's a spot in the game where I thought you got stuck, but it turns out I just didn't know how to play. But if anyone's ever played Sonic 3, maybe you know what I'm talking about. There's this scene in the casino / pinball level. I forget what the place is called, where these twirling, like they look like barbershop poles, and they go up and down. And I thought you had to jump on them to lower them, but apparently you just press down. And like,
Oh,
and I'm not the only one who thought this, because like if you look at the clip on YouTube, there's tons of comments about people who were stuck there as a kid. Now, if you're Knuckles, you can just climb out of there because Knuckles can climb. But
Yeah.
like, if you're Sonic or Tails, you're fucked. Well, you're not fucked. You have to know not to do what I did and just jump forever. But other than Sonic 1 and 2, I've beat Adventure 1. I've never beat Adventure 2, just because like
What?
I don't know why, but like, and for the record, if no one's ever played the adventure games, I think all like Adventure
Oh,
1,
don't tell me
2.
you got stuck where Knuckles had to swim the entire like level.
Yes, I was gonna say I'm
Oh
positive.
crap!
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it was that one particularly, but I know for a fact I got stuck on a Knuckles level because Knuckles levels are randomized, I should say more accurately,
Yeah.
and they're time limited. So like I used to like it. And to be fair, I don't want to make it sound like, oh, I played for hours and gave up. I literally played it 2 or 3 times, and it was like 10 minutes each time. And I'm like, I am not wasting 10 minutes of my life on each attempt. So I'm like,
You
fuck it,
got
I'm never
through
playing the
Sonic.
game.
You got through Sonic 1 though, and Knuckles had like more or less the same in that one.
Sonic 1 was a bit easier. And don't get me wrong, I understand what you're saying, because Sonic 1, you also had to play as big as the cat. And
Yeah.
that fucker was annoying. You had a fish. You had a
Yeah.
fish for his levels. And that was never fun. Like it was never fun. And it was but yeah. And then besides those two, oh, and also for those who never played like Sonic Adventure 2, and Sonic 06, and there's probably a few others I'm forgetting. Those are the kind of games where technically, depending on what your definition of beating the game is, like you could beat it with Sonic, but then you have to beat it like 8 more times. No, not that many times, but like with other characters. I think if I'm not mistaken, Sonic 2 doesn't do that. It just has the evil, I mean the good and the evil side or whatever. And then
Yeah.
Sonic 1 just has
Put
the
it all
6
together.
characters. Yeah. And then I think Sonic 06 has like you play as Sonic, then you play as that fucking
Silver.
I'm like the gray Sonic. Silver's close enough. You play as Silver, then you play as Shadow, then you play as Sonic again or some bullshit. But yeah, I've also never beaten 06. Even though I don't hate it, I just never beat it. Even Colors that I fucking loved, I never beat it.
What about Sonic CD?
Okay, I fucking hate Sonic City, and like I kind of I said this before in the past. People who were like raving about Sonic CD, and I know Amy's in there, and I know that's Amy's debut. It has a whole cutscene, and I know that's the one that was developed by the Japanese team that was
Also Metal
meant to
Sonic?
be. Yeah, it was meant to be the real Sonic 2 at one point. In development. That game feels like somebody threw up on the computer, and then they like, oh, that's the level design. Because it looks like level design vomit. Like I had a level editor and I was bored one night, and they're like, you need to make 8 levels by tomorrow. And I'm like, oh, they're not paying me enough for this. So I just go dun 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 dun. I just start like putting things anywhere. There is no rhyme or reason to that fucking game. And yes, I do know there's a whole time travel mechanic. That only makes it worse. And I don't know if anyone's played Sonic CD, but it's like it's
I
not.
finished it
Oh, you
on
finished
the
it?
on the computer. Like eventually, I also got it for the. Oh my gosh, I used to have Gems collection, then I got rid of it. But like, um, I played it on the Gems collection. But before I had Gems, I actually had the CD version of it. So I actually played it on like an old like '90s computer, and it was good. It was fun. Um, and then later played it again on Gems Collection, which is pretty cool. And then I got rid of it because I got bored, and it's just kind of like, yeah, there's like Gems based games in here. Oh my gosh, Sonic R. Sonic R was on that
Oh yeah.
collection.
Well, Sonic R. Okay, I'm a nerd. I actually I had the Sega CD. Now, I didn't buy Sonic CD. I actually stole it, but I've gone over those stories about me stealing games in my youth. I was a delinquent. Leave me alone. I was really young too. So I remember I have it in a binder of just discs that are games. I mean, games that are just discs, and I have no idea if that binder still is in my possession. I haven't seen it in a decade, but I played Sonic CD in every version pretty much it ever came out with, including the PC. Like I think there was a PC release like on a disc. And I actually even had Sonic R for the Sega Saturn. I mentioned before that I own two Sega Saturns. I think I had a it's a long story. I got rid of the second one. I was against my will, but I had two Sega Saturns, and both of them I bought at like a yard sale and a swap meet respectively from people who were selling it with a ton of games. And one of those lots had a Sonic R in it, and I still have that somewhere. I think I don't know. Anyway, um, that game's weird.
It's
You
really weird.
run. Everyone
I
runs. It's like
I find it really weird how like I'm not saying that like when it comes to like Mario Kart, that's our gold standard because we had also DD Kong
the
Racing
Beast
like at the
Reaver.
same time when the Sonic 64 was like, yes, this is our definitive racing and all that. And then Sonic, who you figure that, yeah, let's just not have him in a car. He's fast. And
He
he
runs.
has the clunkiest racing game ever. Like and I don't even want to talk about how unironically I like love the music, but I feel that like this game is bad. Like
It
just
is.
so genuinely just terrible, and I feel like that's a really wasted opportunity where it's like how is it that oh my gosh, how did I forget we also had the Crash Nitro Racing like um that
No,
game is good too. That game had no reason to like exist, and yet it's also like a good racer. And I'm just like, what did they do to Sonic? Like, oh
every
my
car.
gosh.
Okay, the problem with any racing game is that I mean, okay, the problem, the thing about almost all racing games is that you're in a vehicle of some sort. Everyone. It doesn't fucking matter who the character is, what they do. Like we could have a game where like a DC. I'm sure this exists. Like I'm positive a DC kart racer exists. I don't know if it does, but like it's like as if you had a DC kart racer. You would still put the Flash in a cart. He would not get out and start running. But for
Well,
some
I
reason,
mean, the Flash is not thrown races, but he has canonically made races more difficult for himself for like publicity purposes before. He's
are you
admitted that.
serious?
Yes, like in one of his races against Superman around the world, it was like a very close race. And when asked about it sometime in the future, he's like, "That was for charity, Clark. I'm not gonna."
That was for charity.
And then something more recent, when like he went off the deep end for whatever reason, I don't know. Comics are weird, and I only follow the very periphery of it. He was very much faster than Superman.
No, the fucking So, anyways, like you're in a cart, you don't fucking put the characters running. That was the weird. And then like
It's
they're
like
big, like
I
everything
believe
moves wrong. The collision detection's off. The whole thing is just broken.
I think that they had I still thought it was like a step in the right direction because they had
I don't
those
know
like
about
pole
that.
position. Hold on, they had those pole position racers where they had Sonic like in a car, but those were like little Game Gear things, where it's not really like
Oh, okay,
the
okay,
original game, but like it's just kind of like if there's anyone in the game who could probably operate outside of a car, it would be Sonic. And I feel like they kind of got what they were like. I understand what they were doing because they have Eggman and they have Amy riding in vehicles still in the game. So
Eggman was never gonna. He wasn't gonna run. He was gonna be in his fucking egg. Like you rarely see Eggman walk. He fucking like he like on his little like
yeah,
tiny
that's
legs. He'll just like toddle over to another robot, jump into it. You know.
that's why I'm saying like what's it called? Him being in the machine, okay, makes sense. Amy not being that fast, rides a little cart while Sonic is, on the ground. Okay, also makes sense. Tails, I mean, he can fly, so maybe that gives him a better
He doesn't
racing edge
fly
than say like,
fast though. That doesn't make any sense.
yeah, like he would still be in the tornado. Like if he had something like that, I think that would
Yeah,
make
exactly.
sense.
He would be in the fucking his little biplane for his little like
Yeah,
Wright brothers plane.
Knuckles, like like I feel that if the game would have been made like, and this is ironic, but like I feel if we were going off of what they did in Sonic Adventure 2, because Knuckles may not have a spin dash, but Knuckles in Sonic Adventure 2 has such a crazy sprint. Like it's really
Oh,
insane, like just how fast he is. But I'm saying it's not lost on me because in Sonic Adventure 2, there's a whole ass racing game in it, and everyone is in a race car.
yeah. I just looked up what
Uh,
an echidna was. I couldn't quite remember. They look like. Okay, I don't know if anyone else has ever said this before, but an echidna looks like what I thought a hedgehog would actually look like. If that makes any sense, because hedgehogs I think don't look like what I thought they would, but an echidna does look like what I always thought in my head a hedgehog should be. They're more spiky and they're bigger.
that makes
But yeah,
sense.
I've never like I don't know like I've never beaten any other of the Sonic games. Like I said, like there's very few. I feel like every Sonic game kind of peters out. Like like they start out okay, and then they just like okay, Battle. Like I said, I probably in another world I probably would have given that more time. But that was like I played it on the Dreamcast
Sonic
and
Adventure 2 or like what do you
Adventure
mean?
2. Yeah, I played not in Battle version, but I played Sonic Adventure 2 on the Dreamcast. And I
Mhm.
remember by the time that came out, or by the time I got my hands on it, at least I think even by it came out, like the Dreamcast was already on its way out, and I think I was
Yeah.
already buying a PS2 or something. And it was years later that I played Battle, like 2003 or four. And by that point in my life, I was either like become an adult, had other things to do, or weirdly enough, I was way more into gaming than I ever was. But I had so many games to have my own disposable income that it was like, oh, don't like this game. I'm gonna just put it in the pile and play something else, you know. So I'm just like, when I lost in that knuckle stage, I'm like, I'm not spending 10 minutes. I'm not spending my whole afternoon on this. And then I just like, never touching that again. I do dislike what they did with the Chaos in all the Sonic Adventure games for the GameCube, though. I do think that in Sonic Adventure 1, which I think is DX on the GameCube, I do think that that
Yeah.
would have Game Boy connectivity. I don't remember exactly.
They do have they both have it. Both Sonic Adventure 2 Battle and Sonic DX both have
For the Chao,
yeah, they
because
both
like
Game Boy Advance connectivity.
because like the whole thing about the Chao in the adventure games in for Dreamcast was that you would put the Chao onto the VMU and then you would walk around with that VMU like it was a Tamagotchi.
Yeah.
And like and I'm like, that was fun. I kind of do miss that. I remember like playing with that like at school back in the day, like shit, like high school or some shit like that. I don't remember exactly when this was. Actually,
It
it
made
was high school. I remember being in the fucking like if you were late to class, they would send you to like this like detention room. And I
yeah.
remember like I would be late to class a couple times just so I could take care of my child.
It may not have been like Tamagotchi, but the cool thing is you had the Chow on the Game Boy just so long as you never turned it off.
Yeah, exactly.
Um like because there were two different versions because like if you had a copy of Sonic Advanced 1 or 2, you could actually save the Chow in the game so then you wouldn't have to worry about like
Oh,
turning it off. The
I don't think I
problem
ever
though
knew
is
that.
the problem though is you had to unlock the Chow Garden in the what's it called? You had to unlock the Chow Garden in the Sonic Advance 2. I think in Sonic Advance 1 it's more accessible right away. But
Mm.
if you were able to if you had the games, then you could like link it directly to the game and then that way you could like actually turn it off. But if you didn't, then what's it called? I mean, your child would essentially die if you like didn't what's it called? Keep it on because then at the same time you could still do like Chow Garden mini games and stuff just on the GBA, and you could also transfer them from the GBA into one of the other games. That's how I ended up getting like the gold and silver eggs from Sonic DX, and I ended up putting into my Chow Garden from Sonic Adventure 2. So
I'm pretty
yeah.
sure I have a child that's dead on a VMU somewhere. I have a lot of dead VMUs though, so that's not really that amazing. Um, but yeah, I don't think I ever did that. And also, I didn't own the Sonic Advance games until way later in my life. I think I bought them like way towards the end of the Game Boy Advance's life, and I got them like for like $10 or something, like new at a Borders of all place. And then I just then I played them, like long after their debut. But yeah, I've never beaten a Sonic game really. Have you ever beaten one, JD? You were thinking
No,
about
I
it.
just no. No, I think I've gotten through maybe the first 2 zones of games and stopped.
Yeah, Sonic sucks. There, we said it.
You need to play Sonic Adventure 2 Battle though, or whichever version you have. Play it to its completion. It is phenomenal. We're gonna get a whole ass movie that is gonna cover Shadow being in it. But
No, I'm
so
just
good.
noticing
If
the council.
they have to do like something very specific for me to just like feel like, yeah, they need to do that. There's like this thing that they need to do whenever they cover anything Sonic Adventure 2 related, but I'm not sure if due to licensing issues as well as just the general plot of where, like, just looking at the recent trailer makes me feel that they're not going to do what I think would be awesome, but it's not that the movie would be terrible if they didn't. It would just be one of those situations where I would say missed opportunity, because in the anime of Sonic X, everything plays out the way I would think it would play out when I am watching it. However, in the Japanese version of Sonic X, they end up doing a what's it called? They end up doing the equivalent of where, let's say we're halfway through an anime, or there's just that moment in an anime where the intro starts playing. It's like not the last episode yet, but like there'll be a moment where like the main theme starts playing in like the middle of an episode because it's like a very important like character development moment or something like that,
Mm.
They,
I've never
they
seen
do
the Sonic
something
X at it. Oh, keep going. They do something what?
They do something like that in the Japanese version of Sonic X, where they end up having that particular moment, except it's like ripped straight out of Sonic Adventure 2, and it's so cool that I'm like, are you kidding me? They did the really cool thing from Sonic Adventure 2 in the Japanese edit of the anime, but in the English version we didn't get that. And so there's a part of me that thinks like if they could do that, because it feels like the people that have been it feels like the people who have been making the Sonic games kind of they're nerds. They show that they're dedicated fans. And I felt very optimistic when in the second movie they bothered introducing Gun. Excuse me.
Oh yeah.
When I saw them introduce Gun, I was like, really? Like, why would they bother? And so when they had the shadow thing at the very end, there was just this thing where I just felt like, okay, like I didn't think we'd get here. Like I didn't think we'd get to Shadow so fast, but I'm hoping that what happens is a result of people that treat it more like Wolverine and Deadpool than say how that one guy from Sony just loves to put like Venom in a lot of things. I like Venom, but I'm talking more about that time where, they try to incorporate it into the third movie, where it's just kind of like, yeah, we know what their favorite related things, we're going to have it out there. So there's like that part of me that thinks like, I hope that they do something really cool with the movie, that you should totally play Sonic Adventure 2 so that way you could see like what I mean.
Who got broke playing Sonic Adventure 2, JD?
My Oshi, Kexe. She played it on stream and she very much did not like it. I think she got stuck when Sonic is chasing Shadow or vice versa.
Oh, okay.
And it just killed her. Well, not obviously figuratively, but she's never recovered from that. And I will bring it up.
The last battle where they're like essentially on a strip of road for their their final confrontation.
Yeah,
I think so.
That sounds like
more rainbowy, but
I feel that because there's a whole other section of game that follows that where I feel that would break them.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say next. Like, I feel like if they got broken there, it's probably a good thing. Honestly, one of the big issues with Sonic Adventure, with any of the Sonic Adventure games, and call me, hate me if you want, but we got Sonic Adventure 3 already, and it's called Sonic Adventure 06. And also we got.
It was kind of meant to be that. Like when I play it, even though they changed the voice cast, because the last time they had the voice cast from Adventures 1 and 2 was actually in Sonic Heroes, but Sonic 06 feels very much like Sonic Adventure, like all over it. It's giving the Sonic Adventure vibes.
But all the games are kind of broken, FYI. They're all broken in their own special ways. Like, I'll never forget when the Dreamcast, I mentioned this story a bit. When the Dreamcast was coming out, it was the first console I ever pre-ordered, like with my own, it's the first console I ever pre-ordered and got new with my own money. And it's funny I say that because I technically did it. That's another story for another day. But um, I I was so obsessed with it. I was like following it like from launch. I was buying every magazine. Well, I think I just got every magazine back then. And I remember reading an article about all the stuff that launched with the Dreamcast in Japan because I'm not sure when it launched in Japan, but clearly it was a little before 9999 here. And one of the things it mentioned was how broken Sonic Advance was. And they were saying that whoever the fuck was doing the article was like, oh, we've contacted Sega of America and they promised they're going to fix most of the bugs, like, before the US release. And they were like, oh yeah, Japan's a lot more forgiving for like bugs in games. And I just thought it was so weird. I'm like, in this glowing first touch look at the Dreamcast, they were already admitting how broken Sonic Adventure was, that they were like if you ever played it, I think most modern versions of it from like the GameCube on, they just auto run you during the part with the whale, like kill the whale. You
Oh
could
yeah,
die
there's
there. You could die there, or you could have died there so easily in the Dreamcast version, countless times. That section was actually difficult. um, there was a lot of like stuff in the loop-de-loops in the Dreamcast version where it wouldn't attach you to the loop. Like I think in later versions they've like kind of glued you there so you wouldn't die. But there were tons of things like you could just go through the loop random times if you like were running and you're supposed to do a loop. You just run through it. It's like, oh look, I died, and that's great. This is a great game, guys. And like it's funny because when people complain about 06, and everyone complains about 06, and I'm like, did you guys play the first two Sonic Adventure games? Because this is no different.
Comparing the first two, even with how busted the first version is, I don't think it's like a fair assumption because like at least it being broken, it was still fun. The way that they had Sonic, like there's definitely a big difference when the community itself has to make like almost like 2 decades later a whole PC port that literally fixes all the things that Sega didn't fix on it, than say like, oh yeah, they discovered that due to their collision issues, the best fix that they could have is make a lot of parts more automated.
It's funny you say that because that's exactly what Sega had to do with the first with the first versions of Sonic Adventure. It's like they forgot.
No, I'm bringing that up, but I'm saying like because playing through the game, like I still found it was very fun, both when I was like doing the demo. I know that's the US version, but like both with the demo of Adventure, then also a DX. The only thing though is that they are still broken, but in a very different way, because the part that makes them broken is just how broken the spin dash ability in of itself it is. And also if you decide at certain parts to not really participate with the scripted events, they could still lead to some very stupid deaths. But we're talking about like at least it's fun in the way that it's broken versus Sonic Adventure 2, Sonic 06, like broken in the way that game is not fun. And you very much have to like, when I say learn how to play around it, you very much have to learn to play around it because a patch was not coming until the community would look over it like
exactly, like there was never a patch. Well, I think that's the issue. That's the big difference between the Sonic Adventure games and 06, is that myself and a few random hardcore like assholes will let you forget about it. We're the ones who played it on day one, but most people got to know the adventure games through DX and Battle, and by then Sega was like, I guess our game's broken. Let's just automate all these sections that people kept like falling through the walls, or like if they stopped running or held the wrong direction, they like fucking fall off. I guess they can't be trusted, which is right, by the way. And
I'm definitely saying like there are still some unmade sections even in Sonic Adventure 2, but I'm definitely saying like go through it, give it a shot, especially before the third movie comes out, because like there's something about 2 that is just super effing dope. This I will agree though, some of the Knuckles stages are pretty rough. There's actually a whole upgrade you need to get in the water stage of that Knuckles has that allows him to breathe infinitely.
There's unless Sega has busted Sonic 1 through 3, they should still be available on Steam very cheap. Which, by the way, can I talk about that for a second? Because I remember I have a friend of mine who gets upset with me when I price games too low in my head, and I'm like, why did that Sonic collection? I forgot what it was called, the Sonic Mega Collection that came out like 2 years ago. Why did that cost like $40 or however much it cost? Because we've already been told that those games are worth $3 each. And no, that's not me saying that. That's what Sega priced them on Steam. And so, like, those games cost $3 each. And Sega did that lovely move that you love to see, that when they released that version, they delisted all the previous versions, and that Sega the Sonic 2 and the Sonic CD I keep saying delisted in a weird way, but they delisted were the Sean Whitehead, I forget his name, the guy who like built those games from the ground up, so that like he basically remade them, and I'm like, you delisted like kind of historic versions of the game, and then you put up like, you know, your new updated ones that cost like 10 times the price for some well, it's not for some reason, it's because they want money because the movie was coming out at the time, but still. But yeah, unless they did that again, which they probably would, who knows, buy them soon. Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, I think I bought them both like 99 cents like years ago on Steam. If even that much. I don't even know if it was even that much. I got them for like pennies on the dollar. I love that too. Like Sega deval. You would never see Nintendo do that with Mario Sunshine or like Mario Galaxy or whatever the contemporary Mario games come out. They would never put those games for 99 cents and then be like, yeah, these are our classic big AAA hits. No. Sega sucks. I keep randomly like, I love Sonic, but Sega sucks. Isn't that right, JD? Aren't I a man of contradictions?
Yes, Manuel.
JD's done with my bullshit. I don't know though. I didn't think we talked this much about Sonic, but it's crazy. I'm excited for the movie. I won't see it in theaters, but I'll watch it eventually. And I still need to watch the Knuckles series, and maybe I'll play Generations. I don't know. What's that open world one that came out? I played that one at a friend's house, and I'm like, man, this game kind of sucks.
Frontiers? I think that's the last one.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm like, remember when everyone was ranting and raving about how great that game was? And then it came out and everyone gave it like C-list scores. I mean, like, it's in like literally like 7 out of 10s. And then it kind of just dropped off. Well, I'm sure that it sold a million. I don't know. I'm assuming it sold 1 million copies. It's still Sonic. But still, I'm like, why is it that nobody can really make a good Sonic game? And I wonder what it is. Okay, let me phrase that. Why is it that no one can make a consistently good Sonic game? Is it because Sega's not giving them time? Or is it because like the Sonic formula is just kind of like, I don't know. Part of me wonders, like, do we need the games anymore? Can we just remake Adventure and Adventure 2 like good, and remake 06 good? Like I said, not broken, and just call it a day? Do we need to waste the development money? Well, they're doing that with Generations, I guess. But do we need like Frontiers 2 or anything like that? No, I don't think so. I didn't think that's where I was going here, but let's move on. What else is there? What else is there to talk about? What else is the news? I feel like we've exhausted Sonic for now. I still want to see Rouge the Bat. And no, that's not just for dirty reasons. I just want to see some of the girl characters.
For dirty reasons, Manuel, don't lie.
I mean, I just want to see some of the girl characters getting like too much of like a bro fest in the Sonic movie series. Like, I want to see Rouge. I want to see Cream. I want to see, well, maybe not Cream, put Vanilla. Just because apparently people can't be trusted with Cream art, like I said earlier. And so on.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah, that's kind of worms. I'm not even gonna like open.
Yeah, let's not go there. No, remember the other day, like, and I mean the other day, like about 2-3 weeks ago, where like Sega themselves like finally addressed they didn't address, but they referenced like, oh, we know, like, you know, some of the things people say about Sonic Online or whatever, and I'm like, whoa, they're acknowledging all the like the fucking Mpreg and like Vor and other crazy Sonic shit, all the crazy Sonic, like, you know, memes. I don't know. Nintendo. Nintendo would never do that. Nintendo would never be like, yes, we will let you have sex with the Pokemon in the next game after all. What am I saying?
Yes, man. I remember that joke from when they hadn't figured out that selling Twitter check marks was a good idea.
Like, when somebody was pretending to be Game Freak, I guess, or maybe it was Nintendo, it doesn't matter. It's like, you can have sex with the Pokemon in the next game.
So yeah,
I would play that game, by the way, not because I'm a horrible person, just because I like to support art.
That's you're saying this when Palworld is getting hit with that lawsuit finally. I'm like,
dude,
boy,
okay.
you really don't know what you're asking for. All I'm hearing is just, yeah, I would play that game. I'm just kind of like, either you made it or you're condemning some other company to make it and be like in the crosshairs of Nintendo and the Pokemon company together. This isn't just some like, oh, I'm Nintendo, I don't like that shit that's going down. It's literally like, oh, hey, I'm the well-established Pokemon company now. Oh, I'm the well-established Nintendo company that we both work with in terms of distributing and licensing.
Have you looked into the actual specifics of that case? Because it's wild.
Okay, Manuel, before we get into this, I would like to preface this. Just give me a second. Give me a second. Josh, Manuel, give me a second. I would just like to preface all this with, we are not lawyers. This is not legal advice. We are a bunch of lay people who don't know what we're talking about. Okay.
Okay. So, first of all, what the lawsuit is about is not actually about the copyright infringement, which you would think it would be. It's about like a patent right or patent infringement, I guess.
Yes.
And people have pointed out that one of the patents that everyone seems to assume, because I don't think anyone knows what the exact patent that they're suing over, is the ball throwing mechanic. And the reason people are saying that is because Nintendo filed for a patent, not like the other day, but somewhere between like the release of Palworld and to this lawsuit. So first of all, who the fuck gave Nintendo that patent 30 years or however many years, 25 years after the Pokemon series released? Because I think that's like literally like how those things kind of work. You kind of abandon your rights to it if you didn't claim it at some point. And once again, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not sure if like that's totally true, but I've always been told some shit like that. Like, you can't just be like, let other people copy it for 25 years and then be like, oh, by the way, we own that this whole time. And then like some lawyer, some judge, I should say more accurately, is like, yeah, that makes sense. So everyone seems to be suing for that. And even if still, it's just like, it seems kind of petty, but it's like, I think Nintendo was just like, what can we sue them for? And they had their lawyers hard at work for like the past, like, what, has it long as been 2 years? Or at least a full year, hard at work finding a reason, which I don't know. And doesn't Palworld have like the backing of Microsoft at this point or something like that? I remember like, they're talking about like, they have some bigger there's bigger names involved because they're talking about bringing it to consoles and whatever. And, I'm sure it's never coming to the Switch, but
yeah, it just got released on the PlayStation 5 today, so that was a awkward timing for the State of Play event. Yeah. Emmanuel,
shit.
Also to clarify your point, it released in early access in January of this year.
Okay, so it hasn't even been a full year.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I think Nintendo's just been biting, like not been twiddling its thumbs, but they've been like lawyer. Because remember, I think they even put out that statement when it first got released, like, oh, we're aware and we're watching the situation. I think like more or less that's what they said. And by what they really meant was, lawyers, this is like your job for the next year to figure out what we can sue them for. Because even I have to admit, like, yeah, they kind of. I mean, I think at one point, what's that sheep's name from Sun and Moon? Not Sun and Moon.
Wooloo.
Yeah, Sun and Moon. Oh, Wooloo.
Wooloo is the Pokemon.
There was just a fucking Wooloo in the game at one point where it just looked just like it. But other than that, there weren't exactly like one-to-ones. They had that Anubis that kind of looked like Lucario, like, and so on. But it's just like, good luck. It's like, they didn't really steal it. You could always just say they were inspired, or like, or they could just change the design a little. And you could also tell that Palworld didn't really care because they didn't change the design. I think they got rid of that Wooloo maybe, but like, I don't know. So it's like, it seems petty, and the game is like barely. I mean, people are still playing it. It's not barely played, but you know what I mean to say. It's like, it's not Minecraft. It was a flash in the pan. It kind of moved on. Most people have moved on already. So I don't know what Nintendo is like. Nintendo's just gone to Nintendo.
Anything else to add to that, Josh?
Yeah, Josh, what were you going to say earlier before I interrupted you? Sorry.
I just had a friend who works for the Pokemon company who, like,
legal advice, let's go!
I'm in a separate Discord, and, like, everybody just started asking him questions about it. But you already pretty much highlighted how it really just depends, because there's, like, the route in which it's going in terms of patent it for the whole, like, Pokeball thing, as well as then just, like, being very much, like, aware about how a lot of those designs take a lot of inspiration from Pokemon, but almost to an extent where it's just kind of like, hey, we've seen plenty of like different monster related stuff actually at the time that Pokemon existed. And Digimon itself, I like to say it's a more kid friendly version of Shin Megami Tensei. And even then, the designs don't necessarily remind me of Pokemon. The other thing being is that we even had that Monster Rancher shit, which, like, I will never forget. That actually was
Monster
funny.
Rancher, I think the game predates Pokemon.
Right?
The game, I think. But anyway, keep going.
You know, like, clearly there's other things that, like, existed at the same time when Pokemon existed. Even if they existed before Pokemon, it's just that it's like, boom, that one blew up, you know? It's kind of like, hey, what are churches going to make fun of? They're going to make, well, what are churches going to say are made by the devil? Are they going to say Shin Megami Tensei is made by the devil, even though Shin Megami Tensei existed like 2 decades before? No, because they don't know what the fuck Shin Megami Tensei is. They're like, oh, everyone likes Pokemon. Yeah, we're going to literally say about all the satanic shit that's in Pokemon when it's kind of like...
Pokemon go to hell. Sorry, that was my take on Pokemon go to the polls.
That's doing all the things, but you know they go after for necessarily what's popular. You know, same thing with Harry Potter at this time. You know, similar as things about like what could occur. And so now you have this other game comes out. Everybody's more like game literate. A bunch of other things are like out there even with their own unique monsters, even though they're not a monster capture thing. And yet somehow Palworld very much has a trailer that made everyone go, I smell a lawsuit. This is Pokemon with games. And at the time, the only thing we got was someone asking if Pokemon was aware of Palworld, to which they said at first, don't know what it is, and then went into, we're looking into it, and then it just went quiet. The popularity of it died down, but then it seemed to just resurge right when they said, okay, we're going to be suing them after all. But I genuinely hadn't heard anything really about Palworld, also because I hadn't really been playing Palworld. So it's like I didn't really keep up with like the news and everything until it really came up. So I really feel that it had that moment when it was first released. Everybody was like, holy crap, Pokemon with guns. This looks fun. But the fact that was it. They didn't think this is Digimon with guns. This is even motherfucking Monster Rancher with guns. This is motherfucking Blade with guns. The motherfucking Yu-Gi-Oh with guns. We literally...
Don't all those series have guns, I think?
Pokemon. It was literally just not Pokemon with guns.
So, either that or Arc with Pokemon. Take your pick.
Yeah. Oh, I played it briefly. I mentioned this a long time ago. Like, I feel like I played it way more than a year ago. God damn, time's funny. But first of all, it ran like shit for me. Somebody kept telling me that it's just poorly optimized and whatever. I don't know. But like, I didn't find it that entertaining. I don't know. Maybe I just didn't know how to play. But yeah, some of my friends have like whole like I don't know what you call them guilds or whatever like built around the game, and I'm like, really? They have their own servers? Like, you know, I guess you have like Minecraft type servers for that game. I don't know how that shit works, but I don't know. Like, I do think it's weird that like I think part of the reason why Nintendo goes after Palworld is because like at the time, obviously they have like $1 billion in their pockets, or who knows how much money in their pockets now, but they were a tiny indie studio. But like they couldn't go after fucking Digimon, because Digimon, well, first of all, Digimon, for those who don't really remember, Digimon actually is based on the boy Tamagotchis, which are called Digimon, by the way. So like they have a different origin technically, and maybe they could have fucking sued Nintendo. But the reason why Nintendo could never have gone after Digimon because that's Bandai Namco. And then like I don't remember exactly who did Monster Rancher. I want to say Tecmo. I don't really. I think it was Tecmo actually. Can't go after them because they're a big company too. Can't go after whoever the fuck made Beyblade. I think that's Konami. Can't go after whoever. I think it's also Konami's Yu-Gi-Oh. I don't think you said Yu-Gi-Oh, but like I'm just throwing it out there now. Yu-Gi-Oh with guns. But like yeah, these are all big name companies. But Palworld is like, and aren't they Chinese?
No, they're Japanese.
Oh shit! Okay, good. I only see the Chinese because it looks very, very copyright infringing. And that seems like a very Chinese thing to do. Like just to be like, yeah, you know, we're gonna make a Breath of the Wild legally distinct version, and somehow it becomes a gigantic hit. Genshin Impact. For those who don't remember, the obviously nobody would say that today, but for those who don't remember, I know this is a big tangent, but I like to bring this up whenever I can because I saw everyone share about this before Genshin Impact came out. There was when that game was shown at Tokyo Game Show, everyone raised their Switches with like Breath of the Wild on it, just implying that they were like ripping off Breath of the Wild. And I saw everyone share that, and some people even being kind of low-key racist about like China copying another thing. And people don't put two and two together that game that they were boycotting, and then when it came out like a year after that, it was Genshin Impact. And everyone forgot that part. Someone's like, "Oh yeah, now I'm going to spend like billions of dollars to get like, my next character." But anyway, it's neither here nor there. Palworld, Nintendo probably waited exactly like for the fucking game to come out on consoles to get Sony involved in it, pick more fights with everyone they can.
Plus, I don't know. Legal team.
I feel like they waited this long. They might
legal team what?
I'd say it's probably also just their legal team looking over everything, their possibilities and their strengths of winning before they actually file anything.
Exactly.
Forget these things take time.
Say exactly what JG just said.
They probably they got tired of going after ROM sites. Which by the way, I will always say this, and I know that apparently this is a controversial thing to say, but I don't care. Like if you're gonna hide something, anything potentially like copyright infringing behind a paywall, I don't care if that paywall is only getting you like $1,000 a month or who knows how much it is. You're asking for trouble, and you deserve any trouble that comes at you because you're playing with fire, especially when it's Nintendo. It's Nintendo. But yeah, whenever this stuff always breaks, I'm like, I knew it was gonna be that site that fucking hides their GameCube downloads behind a paywall. Because all Nintendo ever cares about in those situations are people charging money. Well, not all they care about. I'm sure they would love to shut everything down, but like all they can legally shut down is when people charge money. Like I mentioned that Pokemon Uranium game on a stream the other day when we were talking about playing a Pokemon game on our Wednesday streams. And everyone seems to forget that why that game got shut down was because they were taking donations, and I think they only got like $1,000 total. And I'm like, why were you taking money? It's like why was that worth it? You got sued. Congrats. Anyway, I wonder how not Doug Bowser. What's his name? The Bowser who had some other site. Remember, his name was Bowser. His name really was.
I don't remember his name.
Doug Bowser is the president of Nintendo,
America.
But, of America. But there is a guy named something else Bowser who got sued by Nintendo for hosting some ROM sites. And I'm like, I wonder how he's doing. Is he having fun paying off that quadrillion dollars they sued him for? Anyway. Palworld, whatever else. What are we talking about next? Anything else up your sleeve?
Like I was trying to say, we did get announcements of Lunar, the RPG series remasters.
Wait, which one?
The first two, I think.
Oh God, again?
And Legacy of Kain 1 and 2 remasters.
Okay, for the record, I also have a love-hate relationship with Lunar. I love Lunar. Once again, I'm a fucking weeb. I played those on the fucking Sega CD, and then I played them on the PlayStation 1. By the way, Lunar 2 on the PlayStation 1 is bullshit. It's a good example of an American company getting it too much in their head that they're going to personalize their localizations. It's one of those games, I'm sure you've heard about it, where like this went viral a couple years ago, where like in Skies of Arcadia, this is a real thing, by the way. The localizers put their friends' names as like, and maybe even their names. I forget exactly whose names. They name the ultimate weapons after themselves and their friends. And yeah, it's bullshit. And this brought up a whole conversation about like tons of localizers do this. And sure, you have some people defending it, not defending it, but some people are like, this is only a small example. It's only a small example that we know of, but there is like a huge generation of games, and a good example is for everyone who loves not working designs. Fuck, what were their names? I already forgot their names. There was a U.S. company who released Lunar 1 and 2 for the PlayStation. Maybe it's Working Designs. I'm looking up real fast, and they also
Manuel, just keep going. Yeah, keep going.
Anyways, I know they turned into Gaijin Works, but they used to have another company before that.
Yes, Manuel was Working Designs.
Okay, so yeah, it was Working Designs. Sorry, because the Working Design, another company developed the game, but Working Designs is the name of the fucking localizer. Working Designs, and I think the main guy ended up in Xseed now. But he was a terrible fucking localizer. I don't fucking care if you're watching this. Sue me. Actually, please don't sue me. This is just my opinion. He's still a terrible fucking localizer because he would throw like random in jokes and his own name in there, and he thought the game was too easy, so he made the game charge you to save your game. I'm not making this up, and not real money, in-game money. Yeah, I'm not making that up. This was a real thing he did with the Lunar series, and it's just fucking ridiculous. So my point to bringing all that up, though, the Lunar series, for those of you who don't know, it's like the Last of Us of JRPGs. Does anyone want to guess what I mean by that?
Zombie apocalypse.
Survival horror in the JRPG world?
No, what I mean is it's the fucking game that gets released every fucking generation. It's annoying. It's like, stop, make a new game. And for the record, yes, I'm not stupid. I know they have tried to make new games and they all suck, but make a good new game. But yeah, they've remade it at least 3 distinct times, like as in like slightly different takes. And because the games have a lot of voice acting and they even have a lot of music, like vocal music, there's a couple musical scenes. It's not a musical though, but there's a couple musical type scenes. They keep having to re-record that, and because apparently song translations are copywritten too, which I guess makes sense. The lyrics get more and more awkward as each new version comes out. And I think they have to change the melody a bit too. So it's like, God, please stop. Just leave the Japanese song in there if you have to keep murdering it each time. So yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. And I'm also not looking forward to 1000% Kayli being in it. No offense, Kayli. I just mean like, I don't mean that like you're a terrible voice actor or something like that. I just don't want Kayli in the Lunar series. Please stop like haunting my dreams, just like the fucking opening theme song to this podcast. No, like there are so many games I'll play, and I'm like, where is Kayli? I know Kayli's in this. Like I played that Yars Revenge game. I don't know if I said this. I don't think I've said this live. I played the Yars Revenge game, and like I was waiting for her, and it was kind of lulled me into complacency because I'm like, oh, I guess she's not in here because she's clearly not the main cast, and no one else has any vocal parts. Then a random ass boss shows up halfway through the game, who randomly talks. Most of the bosses don't have dialogue, and I'm like, it's fucking Kayli. Kayli is this fucking Spider Woman. Yeah, she's Madam Web. Anyway, and I'm like,
I mean, what? She could be Spider Woman. She could be Aranya. She could be Spiderling. She could be Spider Girl. There are a bunch of other female spider superheroes, even in Marvel.
What were the other spider people called in that Madam Web movie?
Oh, no, they were all just various forms of Spider Woman.
Oh, dude, that movie sucked. By the way,
yeah.
I saw it again the other day. Oh man. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Nobody watched that movie though. But yeah, and I was like, what the fuck? Why is Kayli in this? Anyway. Also, to give you a quick version of my Yars Revenge review.
Yars Rising.
Yars Rising, sorry. Yars Revenge is the original game. Yars Rising. I liked the game. It was really fun. The soundtrack is the most out of place thing I've ever heard in my life. It feels like it feels like you went to an anime rave, like at a club, like at a convention. It feels like you went to AX, like an AX rave night, You collected a CD from every DJ who played that night. You shuffled them all, picked 20 tracks, and just threw them into the game. Because the music is good. Don't get me wrong, it's actually great. But it feels like, first of all, why is there like club music with vocals playing during this game? And why does it sound like it was completely made on its own apart from the game? Which, by the way, 90% of the, not, I shouldn't say 90%, because I know the full percentage. Probably Megan McDuffie probably actually saw the game when she was writing the music. But I am positive, and I know this for a fact because a lot of the music was already released before. A lot of the music was just music they picked. Like, it felt like when movies used to put out those CDs where it's like music inspired by, and it'd be like random tracks that weren't in the movie. It was like that.
Well, there was like at least 2 or 3 that were, and then the rest, yeah.
Yeah, like you would get that a lot. Like in the 2000s, they would put like some random like emo or like new metal stuff on some of the shit, and like, what are these songs? Like they were not in the movie, but it's like that. But they actually put them in the game just very, very badly. And yes, I am not bad mouthing the music, which is great. And one of my friends, Tommy Pedrini, did work on the music there. But please, for the love of God, next time just create a soundtrack. Don't just collect random music. Anyway, that's my gripe about Yars Revenge. My 1-minute review, if you will. JD, make that into a short. And then Tommy hates me forever.
Okay. So yes, any more thoughts on Lunar? I think you were getting to something, and then you got sidetracked.
Oh, yeah, like Lunar series is amazing. I guess play it if the only way you can. But I hope to God they give us a Japanese track, because every other release only had the dub. Because back in the day, that's all, I guess, because game size. I hope that now that it's a modern release, we can get the Japanese track. Just because I'm sure they're gonna have the same bullshit with the songs going on. I'm sure it's gonna be the fourth dub of the game. Like, please, fucking bust a Michelle Ruff and just keep their voice forever. Okay, I'm sorry. Please don't screw any voice actors over. But you like how I tied that back to the Sonic thing, right?
Yeah.
Cream the rabbit. That's some good. That's some good loop in there. You everything to say,
a full circle moment.
Any opinion on Legacy of Kain 1 and 2? I don't remember the names of the games.
Did you ever play Legacy of Kain, Josh? I have. I like Legacy of Kain. It is also like I think $1 on GOG, GOG. So buy it there instead. I liked it. The first Legacy of Kain is a good movie. A good game. Kinda action RPG-ish. I'm not a huge fan of whatever because I don't know if you mean Legacy of Kain 2, which is the thing, or if you mean what the fuck is the actual sequel called?
Blood Omen?
The one with the dude. Huh?
Blood Omen?
The one. Yeah, is that what it's called? No, Blood Omen Legacy of Kain is the first game, but the second one is called
Soul Reaver.
Soul Reaver, thank you. See, I don't know if you mean actual Legacy of Kain 2 or if you mean Soul Reaver, because Soul Reaver is like the action game with the fucker with the angel missing his wings. So that's usually what they mean by part 2. But Blood Omen did get its own sequel where you play as that fucking vampire dude, Raziel? I can't remember what lives in Raziel. I don't know. Question mark.
Okay, Wikipedia says it's Soul Reaver 1 and 2 that's getting remastered.
Oh,
I only saw Legacy of Kain.
Well, all right, so the old one is not getting a touch. Well, those do need a remaster because Soul Reaver are both like 3D games, and they've aged like milk. So yes, please remaster those. Like I want my blocky no winged angel to have more than like 5 polygons making him up. Make him a little more rounded. It's not like it's like Laura Croft with her like triangle boobs. Why did I have to bring up boobs again?
I have no idea, Manuel.
It's all about boobs. Anyways, Josh, who's your favorite Sonic character?
Shadow or Rouge?
It would be Rouge.
Honestly, you weren't about to say that for the very same reason you just outlined, Manuel?
It was gonna say, like, honestly.
Could also be E102 Gamma too.
Okay. For like the fucking the horrible monster in me wants to say Rouge, and that probably is my real answer if you ask me today. But like young men who actually played the games more religiously, it would probably be Tails. I actually do have a soft spot for Tails. So that is my honest answer. But Rouge, fucking Rouge. Wait, what am I saying? Not like that. I swear, for once. I just mean like Rouge is great too in lots of ways. Okay, I'm gonna shut up now.
Morgan Aslan for kids.
That is true.
All right, Manuel.
Wait, did you say that? Was that just you, Josh? Was that just your random thought?
I said that. It's Morgan Aslan for kids.
Yeah, for those who don't know, that's the big titty succubus from Darkstalkers, the Darkstalkers series. Who's your JD?
I don't play enough to have a favorite character.
Yeah, and a certain somebody who can't be mentioned, who shouldn't be mentioned, who used to be on the show all the time, she used to always mention how her favorite character was Cream the Rabbit, funny enough. Or maybe she said Vanilla, but like one of those rabbits. It was definitely a rabbit.
What got her kicked out?
Oh,
she just left.
She just left.
And never came back.
We used to have a mysterious VTuber who was like started the podcast and just disappeared. Technically, she never left. So in theory, she's just on hi. It's like I feel like it's like those bands that go on hiatus and never actually break up. It's like that. She's just like, I'm gonna take a little break, guys, for like for an actual reason. She's gonna take a little break, and that break has been going on for what, 2 years now?
Something like that. I was actually going back through old episodes looking for something, and it's been a long time.
Yeah, it definitely was well before episode 200. So yeah. Anyway.
All right, let's wrap up
I guess
here.
That's it.
Yeah.
Let's wrap it up.
Let's
wrap it up. Just like Knuckles should do with Root. Oh, okay, I'm gonna shut up now. I did not need to say any of that.
Yeah, you did not need to say that, Manuel.
Okay, Manuel, calm down.
Okay, wrapping up.
Okay, guys.
What are we doing this week?
Tomorrow's more Breath of Fire 3. Hopefully, we at least get towards the end. I can already see Ward if we start getting towards the last dungeons and want to just power through it. But I do realistically think it'll take 2 sessions. Honestly, I don't think it would take 2 full sessions just because we took so long with the last one getting through the part that I thought was not going to take all night. So, oops. You could blame. I'll take the L for that. And then Friday's Drink Talk roll. And then next Tuesday's UPC.
Hey, don't forget Golden Sunday on Sunday, 3 p.m.
Golden
Pacific.
Sunday's on Sunday, 3 p.m. I actually forgot it this weekend. I actually was going to watch it. And then, like, a friend of mine was like, want to grab food? I'm like, sure. And the second, and I'm not joking when I say the second I went outside, I saw the notification. It went live. I'm like, shit. And I was going to watch it. And I'm like, shit. I'm like, fuck it. And then like, somehow my brain just hiccuped, and I was gonna put it on while we were eating, kind of just like in the background, but I never did. And also we were eating. I mean, it was a group thing. We weren't really like talking amongst ourselves, but yeah, like it was a group. Yeah, I was also eating. Anyway, that's it. See you all next week. Thank you, everyone. Josh, what do you want to plug?
Yeah, definitely check me out on Instagram, Fotaku Network. Thank you, everybody, for checking in. Always glad to be here.
Good night.